Hey, do you want to speed up how long it takes you to report on marketing activities? Probably you do, because marketing has so many different metrics that you can actually look at, report on, analyze to the nth degree, and that can take a ton of time. So let's look at the three areas that kind of categorize the different metrics and focus on which ones actually matter. So what are the three types of marketing metric? Well, you've got your top line, what you need to report on to managers, the board, whoever is looking at your reports. Those are the revenue generating metrics. Next line down is the success metrics for the different channels that you're using. And finally, we've got the vanity metrics. You've probably heard marketers talk sneeringly about vanity metrics, and there's a reason that people call them vanity metrics. They're lovely to see, but they don't actually tell us what's going on with our marketing and in the business. There are a couple of small caveats to that, which we'll get onto when we get to that section. So let's look at those top line metrics. These are the ones that if you only have a short period of time to do your reporting, these are the ones you have to focus on. These are the ones that when you report back to your boss, to the board, you can point to marketing having an impact. So what are the metrics? Big one is obviously return on investment. That is a big topic. So let's look at the things that go into that and the other measures that you need in order to be able to calculate that and report to the board. First one is the number of leads generated. Just the bare number of leads, not broken down by channel, not broken down by product, just the top line. How many leads has marketing generated this month, this quarter, whatever your timescale is. Then we want to look at how many of those leads turned into customers. So lead to sale ratio, because that way you can start to predict what's going to happen in the future. If you get more leads, how many of them will turn into customers? If you get 100 leads and your lead to sale is 1%, how many leads are you going to turn into customers? 1. I'm obviously using really simple maths here because my mental arithmetic's not great. But it's really important to know how many leads you're getting and how many of those turn into customers. Then, because you should know how much you're spending on your marketing, you can work out the cost per lead. How much does it cost you to get a lead? This is something you will want to do in the channel metrics for yourself to see which channels are most effective. But when it comes to top line reporting, saying it costs us £500, £1,000, £10 to get a lead is really important, because when you go and ask for more budget, you can say it costs us X amount to get a lead. If you give me more money, I can get you more leads. Tied into that is obviously the customers. So when you know your costs, you can also calculate your customer acquisition cost. How much does it take for you to get a customer? This is going to be higher than your cost per lead because obviously not every lead turns into a customer. You need to know these two figures so that you can report back how effective your marketing is. And that's what gives you an ROI. So let's look at the ones that are the channel specific, the tactic based metrics. So this is where you look at traffic per channel. Now, traffic isn't leads. This is just people coming to your website, your platform, whatever you're directing people to. And you want to know it by channel because then you want to know, actually, is it worth being on this channel? Or do we need to invest more time in this channel? So you look at your organic traffic, your direct traffic, social media, paid, wherever you have people coming to your website from, that's your channel traffic. So obviously, if social media never gets any traffic, or if you get loads of traffic from Facebook and none from Twitter, you can start to prioritize your time, because we're always time pressed, or your budget, or your resource. So next one is cost per click. So that's by platform. You know, how much does it cost to get a click from Google, from Facebook, wherever you're advertising? What is your cost per click? And what are the optimization scores for those channels? Because again, you don't want to be spending time and money and effort on a channel that doesn't bring you leads. You also want to look at your call to actions and how many people click on your call to actions, because call to actions are generally designed to generate leads, and lead generation, as we've seen, is the top line reporting. So how many people are clicking your calls to action? How many people are actually completing the action that you want? You've probably got calls to action for top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. So focusing on the bottom of the funnel ones, how many people are converting through that CTA? Because then you can start to change your CTAs, you can start to A/B test them, you can start to do all sorts of tactical marketing things that make your lead generation improve. So all of the reporting in this kind of tier is designed to help you generate more leads so that your top line reporting looks better. Of course, if you want to speed up your marketing, which is the whole point of this video, or your marketing reporting, I should say, what you need is a frequency cap on how often you do some of these reports. So your top line reporting should be weekly. That's particularly on the leads. On the channel acquisition, customer acquisition cost and cost per lead, that can be weekly or perhaps fortnightly, depending on how many leads you've got coming in and how much budget you're spending each month. If you have a huge budget and you're getting loads of leads, you should know that weekly. If you've got a small budget and a small trickle of leads, then fortnightly might be more reasonable for that. You need time for things to happen. When we're looking at the channel specific areas, look at that monthly. A lot of people will look at it weekly because we need to be on top of the numbers. But the challenge with that is you get lots of fluctuations week by week. If you have an enormous audience, those fluctuations won't look huge. If you have a medium size or small audience, those fluctuations can be enormous and they can skew what you decide to do strategically. So it's not just about saving yourself some time, it's about being more thoughtful about how you use the data that is available to you. You know, there may be an event going on in the world that triggers fewer searches or more searches. You may have put out a piece of content that spikes traffic, but it's very topical for a moment and isn't evergreen. So that will create a big spike. It will look great for a week. And then the following week, things don't look so good. So look at that. And then vanity metrics, well, look at them every now and again. You don't need to look at them frequently. Follow accounts on all of the social platforms can really vary, particularly Twitter. People will follow and unfollow at a moment's notice. So you might see, just a little jagged line before you see a nice curve. So look at that infrequently. I'm not going to give you a specific timeline. It may be quarterly, it may be every few months, it may be when you remember, but give yourself the grace to not focus on those metrics. Now, obviously the weekly stuff is because even if you're not reporting to the board weekly, although you may be, you need to be on top of that, because if you have a target for leads this month and in week one you were miles off, a quarter of that target, you need to do something pretty dramatic to get yourself back on track. If you're 3 weeks in and you're close to the target, you might be able to bring in a little boost. So use your reporting sensibly and strategically to help you focus on the things that matter, rather than spending too much time in spreadsheets, in reports, in graphs, when that won't get you to your ultimate goal. Finally, let's look at some quick tips for speeding up your reporting. So dashboards and templates are absolutely your best friend. If you use any kind of marketing platform, then spend some time setting up your dashboards so that you can, at a glance, fill in those particular numbers. Build templates. Again, invest that little bit of time up front. Make sure you have a nice, clean, crisp template with all of the calculations you need in it. So you can put in number of leads, number of customers. It automatically spits out your lead to sale ratio. Put that time in at the beginning. It will save you a ton of time in the long run. A lot of people will highlight just the cells that they need to fill in. That's a great way of doing it, because then you just look at a spreadsheet, you can say, right, I just need to fill in these 5 numbers. The other area is systems and processes. So as marketers, maybe we feel a bit more creative. Systems and processes aren't necessarily our favorite thing. But if reporting happens on a Monday, every Monday, you are going to look in these 5 places, or this one place if you've got an integrated platform, but you're going to look in these places for these specific figures. That way you can also delegate that reporting to somebody else, which will definitely save you time. But also, if you're away on holiday for a few weeks, you can make sure someone else is able to generate those reports, because there is a process in place. It says, go here, put this number into this cell. That will save you time. It's a little bit of time investment up front to save you time every single week, every single month, ongoing. Okay, so let's talk about vanity metrics. These are the ones that they don't necessarily impact the bottom line. They're the ones that we as marketers love to see. These are things like likes, follows, subscribers, and shares. Obviously, they're lovely to see. We want to see tons of likes on a tweet, on a LinkedIn post. We want to see loads of views on our YouTube videos. That's why we're putting these things out there. But if you can't relate that back to a revenue figure, if you can't relate it back to a number of leads, then it is vanity. That doesn't mean you shouldn't look at them. You shouldn't look at them and be happy about them. But if you are focused on building likes, you are not focused enough on building revenue. And ultimately, marketing should be a revenue center. Number of likes, number of shares, number of follows, they're lovely. And there is, as I mentioned at the beginning, a small caveat. If you can relate it back to a lead target, a revenue target, then there is value to it. And obviously, the more people that see our content, the more chance it has of converting. But you might make a piece of content that goes viral because it's topical and it's great and it's fun and it's interesting, or it's controversial and loads of people see it. Not one of them turns into a customer. So that metric, that virality, is that the word? That way that has taken off and loads of people have seen it, doesn't affect the bottom line. Now, if what you are trying to achieve is brand awareness, which is a valid strategy, which is something that a lot of businesses, particularly newer businesses, need to achieve, then yes, going viral has some utility. But are you going viral for the right reasons? Are you getting the right eyes on your piece? Because it doesn't matter how many views you have if none of those views are your target audience, because then they're not going to convert into customers. So when you look at these vanity metrics, you need to have in mind, are they going to turn into customers? Am I appealing to the right audience to generate leads? Because if what you're reporting on to the top line is leads, then everything you do should be building up to that. If you're reporting on likes and shares and follows at the top level, you will have a much harder time getting more budget. You will have a much harder time proving the value of marketing. So enjoy your like count, enjoy your follower count, enjoy your share count. Don't focus on it, and save yourself some time. Don't spend your time analyzing and reporting on that. Report on what matters to the business, save yourself the time, and enjoy the fun metrics when you've got 5 minutes.